Part 3 of our unit will consist of science, religion, and the new social order during the Victorian era in Britain after the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution brought new ideas and theories when it came to an improvement in science. In the early 1800s, there was a major breakthrough in chemistry when John Dalton, a schoolteacher, developed the modern atom theory. Atoms consist of protons, electrons, and neurons, and atoms can combine with others to create chemical substances. Years later, scientist Dmitri Mendeleev designed the periodic table of elements. These contributions gave way to major improvements in medicine. In the Victorian era, a debate emerged on when exactly the Earth was created. A man named Charles Lyell came up with the idea that Earth was created over millions of years ago. His successors argued that the Earth's creation was at least 2 billion years ago. We now think that the world was actually created 4.5 billion years ago. This went against biblical accounts of the creation of Earth, which was the biblical story with Adam and Eve and an apple. Also, archaeology added more opposing theories to the origins of life when Neanderthal bones were discovered in 1856 and fossils have been discovered ever since. However, the most controversial theory came from Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin was a British naturalist, and in 1831, him and other naturalists set sail on an HMS Beagle from England on a 5-year voyage. Darwin was in charge of observing, recording, and collecting samples of rocks, plants, animals, insects, and fossils. In 1859, he published On the Origin of Species, in which he argued that all forms of life, including human beings, had evolved into their present state over millions of years ago by a process called natural selection. Natural selection basically means a survival of the fittest. Members of all species constantly compete to survive. The members with the best physical traits adapt best to their environment, and their traits are passed down to their offspring. The theory of natural selection was then used in other theories, such as social Darwinism. Many thinkers used Darwin's theories and applied it for their own beliefs. Social Darwinism, for example, was a belief that some people were somehow better or more fit than others. More specifically, the wealthy were better than the poor, or men were better than women, or whites were better than blacks. Social Darwinism encouraged racism in the Victorian era. The Industrial Revolution created a new social order in Britain. 3 social classes emerged as a result. We now have the upper class, which was the nobility, and the new middle class, which we have been talking about. Now the working class emerged, and were very poor. The workers made up about 30% of Britain's population in 1900. Religion continued to be a major force in society as feelings of compassion and charity emerged. There was a push to reform and help the working poor. Also, Catholic priests set up schools and hospitals in urban slums. The social gospel, which was a movement to urge Christians to contribute a social service, gave housing, health care, and education to the poor. Most notably, the Salvation Army was set up in London in 1878 by William and Catherine Booth to spread Christian teachings and provide social services to the poor. As we know, the Salvation Army is still with us today.